southwest Minnesota, Landuyt Land and Livestock has family roots going back to 1928. Today, Mike and George Landuyt work together to care for their crops and their cattle.
Our operation here is a fourth generation cattle feedlot and farm. We have about 2,200 acres of crops and just over 700 head of cattle on feed all the time.
Mike's always farmed with us since a little boy. He come with me every day. Anytime you can work side by side with your wife and your son, it's just the best. And the rest of the family pitches in too, so we don't want to forget him.
I just love everything about raising cattle. I guess I love being out here with them. I love spending time doing the jobs that it takes to raise them.
Back in the 1950s, Mike's grandfather moved away from raising cattle. But in 1999, Mike brought beef cattle back into the family operation. Since then, the Landuyts have added a hoop barn and a larger monoslope building to shield their cattle from the weather.
We feed all our cattle under roofs here. It works well for us. It helps just keep the environment more steady for the cattle. Environmentally, with the barns, there's big benefits there because it keeps the manure more consistent. Or we don't have just the rainwater that gets in the manure and then decreases the value. So we get rid of that aspect of it. There's no runoff. There is zero runoff from our barns here or from our feed yards. It's all contained within the barn, and there's no worries about any runoff of that sort coming out of the barns.
On their croplands, Mike and George use reduced tillage systems to prevent erosion. To protect water quality, they've installed buffer zones along their fields to filter any runoff. And they take a precision approach to applying crop inputs, so they've intensified their use of soil sampling.
Grid soil sampling, taking soil samples every 2.5 acres, and they've been doing it for a lot of years now. That's not something new to them. They're on the forefront of that project. And then also, after we get those results, they're really strategically applying the manure at the right rates and making sure we're utilizing that manure as a valuable fertilizer source.
They're integrating, obviously, the manure that's produced on their farm to apply, but they're really looking at soil testing as well as cover crop integration. They actually, through NRCS, they do with this Conservation Stewardship Program, they actually have an enhancement where they do soil tests where it looks at the actual microbes and the respiration and everything to see how the soil health is doing on their farm.
The earthworms, the microbes, it's all important function of what makes our crops and what gets us the yields we're fortunate enough to get here.
A significant challenge is controlling erosion due to rainfall, so the Landuyts have partnered with NRCS to build 15 water retaining structures in their fields.
We've built a lot of basins, water retention basins out in our fields to control when we do get a heavy rain. Most of them are built to withstand a 6-inch rain. And they'll hold all that water back, and then they slowly release it through the tile system instead of it all just running down the hill in a matter of minutes. It's metered out, and it hits the creek slower that way when it does get there.
So working with Mike, we're able to clean up the water that is entering the stream. We're able to treat it in the watershed above before it gets to the stream. And so that's why he's making progress that way. And that's why it's so important for our rivers and streams here. They're getting better all along. And it's because of people like Mike and the Landuyt family as they're doing structures and things like this and doing better management on the land so the water doesn't wash off and take the sediment and chemicals with it.
Beyond their farm, the town of Walnut Grove draws visitors who often see what the Landuyts are doing. That's because some of their land is on the banks of Plum Creek, site of the Ingalls family farm, made famous in the Little House on the Prairie books. The Landuyts also benefit from a nearby ethanol plant where they can deliver corn and get distillers' grain to use in their feed ration.
So they have the feedlots, but when you look at inputs into the feedlots, they grow all the corn that goes into the feedlot, but also some of that corn goes into an ethanol plant up the road, and that byproduct gets fed back to the cattle. And then as a feedlot, all the manure in the bed pack goes out into the crops for fertilizer. So they kind of have that holistic approach to sustainability here on one farm.
From crops to cattle, everything works together on Landuyt Land and Livestock. And it's clear, the family tradition of doing what's right for the land is in good hands.
It's about how to make this farm be here another 90 years. What can we do to to save money and make it a profitable farm, and they tie together so nice because, you know, it's all economic driven. The benefit is the things we're doing are also environmentally beneficial.
If it's good for the environment, you need to do it. It's just important that we take care of the earth, and sure, it costs you a little money to build some retention structures and stuff, but if it's going to save the soil, save the earth, you just need to do it.
And we're all in this long term. Everything we do is long term. I think that's just where some of this conservation stuff comes in. It goes to that same mentality of we're in this for the long haul.